In a world where legends rise and fall with every punch, where the roar of the crowd fades, but the stories live on. This is where those stories are told. This is Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. From the blood, the sweat, and the glory, to the controversies, comebacks, and knockouts, we go behind the ring, no fluff, no hype, and definitely no BS. Just the truth behind the fight game. And we've been doing it for over 2 decades. A podcast pioneer, now a Hall of Famer.
Great. What's that ego gonna be like?
And next, the comeback kid.
Wait, isn't he like 90 or something?
Shut up, he'll hear you. The reigning, defending, undisputed, heavyweight champion of boxing broadcasting. It's Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. And it's on now.
And we're coming to you live from the Billy C. Studios in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calogero, and it's time for the Billy C. Show. Good morning, good day, good evening. Whenever you're watching, whenever you're listening, I hope you're doing okay. Today's show is being brought to us by my book, Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to the Baddest Men on the Planet. It's available right now where all good books are sold. I mean, you can go to Amazon and get it right now while you're watching or listening to this very show. You can also go to BillyCBoxing.com. I believe the publisher is still doing a special. They never took it down, so take advantage of that. And speaking of books, rumor has it I'm going to be putting out another one. Yeah, I have some ideas. I've been thinking about it for a while, and I think it's going to be interesting. So stay tuned for news on that. I'm going to get you coming up on today's show. I'm going to get you caught up on the latest boxing news and rumors, including my thoughts on the updated Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua fight, Boots Ennis's potentially next fight. It sounded like it's going to be. Overall look at the middleweight division. I got a few great emails I want to read and much more. I'm also going to be breaking down the World Welterweight title fight that's scheduled for this weekend between current champ Rolly Romero going up against Teofimo Lopez. And also, there's a fight, George Lidard against Dario Morello in the middleweight division. Another one I'm going to break down and talk about. But first, let me tell you this: we're going to have some important programming news about the show. I'll get you caught up on that in a few minutes. But let's talk about this past weekend's fights. Actually, it was the weekend before, but speaking of middleweights, we're going to be talking a little bit about middleweights. There was the IBF World Middleweight title. It was a vacant title between Aaron McKenna and Etanosa Olaha, and that fight was an interesting fight. I was wrong. I had picked Olaha in that one. I went with the Paisan, but, he just seemed like he never really got going. And McKenna, well, he did enough to win, and he's a world champion right now. I'll be talking about that whole division. He won a unanimous decision, 118 to 110, 117, 111, 116, 112. His record now is 21-0. With 10 of his wins coming by knockout. And as you know, or maybe you didn't, both fighters were undefeated going into the fight. And Olaha is now 22-1 with 10 of his wins coming by knockout. In another fight that seemed, I was hoping it was going to be a little more exciting, but Callum Walsh, another middleweight, he won his fight, a 10-round unanimous decision over Tyler Denny. The way the judges scored that one, 98-91 twice, 96-90. He improves to 17-0, and Denny drops to 21 wins, 5 losses, and 3 draws. I thought that Callum Walsh fought in spurts, and I think he should have stayed on the fast end of the spurt. And he kind of started fighting to the slow pace of Tyler Denny. So I think he could have performed a little better, but he's a young fighter. The thing is, a lot of people calling him out. So in a fight that was weird, I don't know if you saw this one, but Joe Ward, Ireland's mighty Joe Ward, he won a unanimous decision against Artyom Kasparian. And, Kasparian had this fight. I mean, I watched this fight and I'm noticing, in my opinion, Joe Ward just seemed like so methodical. He was throwing punches. He was leaving himself wide open. I'm watching him going, what's the big deal? And then all of a sudden, the second half of the fight, he starts connecting with these punches, and it just seemed that Kasparian just ran out of gas. The way the judges saw it at the end was two of them had it 97-93, where the third had it at 96-94. Kasparian drops to 14-1 with 12 of his wins by knockout, and mighty Joe Ward improved to 13-1 with 8 of his wins coming by knockout. He hadn't fought in a while. His last fight, he had lost from a weird situation. It was a problem that he just couldn't get a fight. So it was 659 days. But my thoughts on the broadcast, again, this was I was happy that Zuffa Boxing put this on a Saturday. So I give him a huge kudos for that. I've been begging and dreaming that Dana White would finally put these on Netflix on Paramount Plus on Saturday instead of Sundays. But man, it's getting so hard to listen to Joe Tessitore and Dre Ward. I mean, Max, it's the three of them, right? Max Kellerman, Joe Tessitore, Andre Ward. Max talks about the fights during the fight as if it was a preview of the fight. I mean, it's all the time now, and also, during the fight, he's still telling you how this is going to be a great fight. I mean, to me, he should start calling the fight, giving us his thoughts on what was happening in front of him. And Joe Tessitore, I mean, he's kind of yelling. I mean, it's like he's taking a page out of the worst announcer ever, Mario Ronaldo. And Dre, all he talks about is himself. He's such a snooty guy. I don't know, man. You can't really. Max is good when he's let loose, and they got to find somebody better than Joe Tessitore and Andre Ward. I'm sorry, but anyway, give a shout out to my man Coach. He's in the chat room right now. I just was talking about the McKenna Olaha fight. And when you take a look at the middleweight division is pretty hot, really, And if you're not following it, get caught up on these guys just to catch y'all up. The WBC champ is Carlos Adames. And by the way, it would be hard for anybody to realistically say that he's not the best middleweight in the division at this time. There also is a WBC interim champion, Jesus Ramos. The WBO has Denzel Bentley. He's a decent fighter, too. Ursulari Landa, 77-year-old Ursulandi Lara is the WBA world champion. The IBF just was crowned. McKenna was just crowned. And so those are the four major sanctioning body champions. And then when you take a look at the middleweight division, Amari Jones is a quality fighter. Even though Itanosa Olaha lost against Aaron McKenna, he's still in the discussion. You got Troy Ilsley, another quality fighter. Callum Walsh, who we talked about a few moments ago, young but very talented. Yulini Hernandez is another one that, quality fighter. J.A. Tucker. Shane Mosley Jr., don't forget about him. Tim Tszyu moved up to middleweight. And then, the fight that we're going to see this weekend, George Ledard, he's a quality fighter. But then there's two other fighters that I know I told you guys about in the past in the middleweight division that are extremely exciting fighters, and I want you to keep an eye on them. They're climbing the ranks. They are ranked in several of the sanctioning bodies, but Brad Pauls is one, and Jimmy Sains, both two action-packed fighters. So keep an eye on the middleweight division. I think it's pretty hot right now, pretty hot. Listen, I want to give you guys an important update about this show. We're going to be starting to do the show on a twice a month basis. We'll be doing twice a month, every other week. We're also going to be doing some specials like post-fight shows and roundtable discussions, live events. I'm also going to be doing these little sporadic, short little shows that I'm just going to bang out there. So the schedule's going to be a little up in the air. So really what you need to do is make sure you follow us and subscribe to all our stuff. Friend us on Facebook. There's a couple accounts, my name, and then also the group Talking Boxing with Billy C. So get on all of that. If you want to search us on the socials, it's Talking Boxing, TalkinBoxing. And you could also go to BillyCBoxing.com and check out all the links. So that's what's going to be happening. So you better watch the show, and we'll be telling you what's next. So the next show, just FYI, will be Wednesday, September 2nd. Coach is saying Troy Isley, you like him, huh? You think he's one of the top guys, huh? All right, some Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury news. First and foremost, the WBC announced that they would make that fight an eliminator for the world title. And I kind of find that strange. Tyson Fury was out of the ring for a while, as was Anthony Joshua. They both come back, and actually, Tyson Fury had fought two kind of tune-up fights, his last one being not too difficult. And Anthony Joshua, the same thing. His last fight really, and he was down. He got slapped around, but he destroyed his opponent. And then before that, he fought Jake Paul, So, and then all of a sudden, these guys are in the mix as an eliminator. This is what I can't stand about the sanctioning bodies, boys and girls, because the sanctioning bodies aren't really giving us or requiring the best fights. They're looking at it as they're actually promoters. They're trying to cut the deals, So this is the problem. This is what hurts the sanctioning bodies, in my opinion. That's why I'm always cheering on Zuffa Boxing, because they don't want to put anything up against that. But anyway, Fury, as far as the WBC is concerned, is the number one contender in the heavyweight division. Josh was ranked number 5 with the WBC. And, they're getting the shot. So, we'll see what happens if they get that fight, because remember, the whole fight is being kind of argued about. Rumor has it they want to have it in New York. All right. They want to have it in New York, which, you know what? I think that's stupid. First and foremost, they can get 100,000 people in the stadium in England. Okay, the fight deserves to be in the UK, 100%. And I'm a New Yorker. I don't want it in New York at all. Okay, they want it in New York because I guess it's easier for Paramount or Netflix, whoever's doing it, to produce it. I don't know. I can't think of any other reason other than that. Because think about it. The New York State Athletic Commission has a tendency to embarrass the hell out of themselves. I mean, the last fight with the referee, Daly, who tackled and almost killed Stephen Butler against Erlanger, or Edgar Berlanga. If that's not enough to make people cringe when they hear that, there's going to be a fight in New York. And then the other thing is, I'd like to watch that fight in front of the UK fans, because it's going to add a lot of electricity to the air and to the fight. I think we'll get a better fight from the fighters if it's in the UK. Think about it. When you go to a big-time fight, and this is obviously a big-time fight no matter where it's fought, so let's say it's in New York, you're going to get the fashion show. You're going to get all of the names just hanging out, going there because, you know what? It's the thing to do in New York City. You know, it's the fight night. So we're going to go there. Do we know a left hook from a fish hook? Yeah, no, we don't. You know, but we're going to go anyway because it's the thing to do in New York City. You know, and that's the kind of fan base you have. But when you watch a fight in the UK, especially a fight of this magnitude, you're going to see, you know, a knowledgeable crowd. And I'm telling you, it would add energy. I hope that the fight ends up in the UK. According to Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua's side, you know, it's supposed to take place, or they want it to take place in the UK. But listen, you know, it's been rumored that Dana White is involved with this promotion somehow. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all unfolds. But now, if you're, you know, weak heart and can't handle, you know, bad language, I suggest you mute your speakers right now, because I'm going to give you a quote from my man, Dana White, Zuffa Boxing's CEO, when asked recently at an event about this fight, about the Tyson Fury against Anthony Joshua fight. And let me tell you something. His answer was epic. He says, and I quote, this is a quote from Dana White. He said, "Listen, this fucking saga, we'll see how this whole thing plays out. I mean, they either want to fight or they don't. To make a fight, two guys have to want to fight, period. End of story. Contracts and this and that. There's not a lot of, he says, there's a lot of fucking money for grabs in this fight. Do you want to fight or do you not want to fight? I don't give a shit one way or another. The fight should have happened 10 years ago. Is it going to happen now? We'll see." Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. But, you know, maybe I wouldn't have put it that way on air personally, but I can't say as I disagree with him. You know, it is that simple. If two guys want to fight, especially marquee names, they want to fight. Stop with the BS. You know, I mean, it's true, right? The WBO ordered Hamaz Shiraz to face former unified middleweight champion Yanibek Alim Kalumi. This fight, they have the WBO isn't messing around. They have 20 days to make this fight. Otherwise, they're going to send it to purse bid. Interesting stuff by the WBO. Ben Whitaker, you guys know how I feel about Ben Whitaker. I love watching him. He's toned it down a little bit as well. It's, you know, they're talking about him. You know, he's headlining a card, which I'll talk about here in a second. But Anthony Yarde is a top fighter in the light heavyweight division, and it looks like he's lining up for Ben Whitaker as well. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Jaron Ennis. A lot of people were talking about the potential fight between him and Virgil Ortiz, but apparently Ennis has turned down a fight with Ortiz. When asked about it, Team Ortiz made a statement and says, you know, we're trying to get a fight. Boots says no. Sebastian Findora said no. Spence retired. Tim Tszyu moved up. Keith Thurman's done. If Ortiz goes up, 154 becomes a wasteland, and 160-pound division will be the hottest division in boxing. Can't say as I disagree with him, but now rumor has it that Virgil Ortiz may be fighting one of the brothers, one of the fraud brothers, and that's Jermell Charlo. I don't get it. I don't get why anybody would even want to watch either of the Charlo brothers. And speaking of Boots Ennis, so the guy who he's going to probably fight is Josh Kelly. Now, Josh Kelly was a fighter. We talked about his fight. He got cut really, really bad in his last fight, but he too has a belt. So it kind of makes sense for Boots to fight Josh Kelly to gather up, you know, the belts. Kelly is a tough guy. Look, Boots Ennis, in my opinion, is way more skilled than Josh Kelly. But Josh Kelly brings a level of toughness that I don't think Boots has seen yet. And although Boots has pop, Josh Kelly has demonstrated that he can take a punch, and he's gotten up. So this is going to be a really good fight. Do I think Ennis beats Josh Kelly? Probably on points if Kelly can't rough him up. We remember, we saw Boots get stunned in his last fight. He got rocked. So, his chin really was tested for the first time. Josh Kelly's definitely going to be testing his chin. So I like this fight. So we'll see what happens. It's rumored Josh Kelly's healing up, but it's rumored to be taking place in the fall of this year. So I was talking about Ben Whitaker earlier and his potential fight. Should he get by his next fight against Arthur the Yard, but his next fight is scheduled for October 3rd in Birmingham. It's actually an IBF elimination fight for their world light heavyweight belt. How Yardy fits into this, I don't know, because he doesn't have a belt. So Whitaker's going to be fighting for the belt if he gets by his opponent in this one, and he's going to be taking on Wallace in this fight. I think it's a good fight. Wallace has got a 17-1 record with 12 of his wins coming by knockout, and Whitaker's 12-0 with a draw, and 9 of his wins coming by knockout. And that draw was a controversial draw, if you recall. He was knocked through the ropes and couldn't continue. They went to the scorecards, and it was a draw. I love Whitaker, and Wallace is a quality fighter. This ought to be a really, really good fight. And the undercard is going to have some interesting fights on it as well. Over in the UK, one of the most highly touted amateurs out there who's won 7 national titles is 22-year-old Odell Camara. He's going to be making his pro debut on the undercard. And then Bialy Fawaz. And Fawaz is a fighter who's got that story. He came over as a refugee as a child. He fought for England in the Olympics, but he doesn't have a passport, and they won't let him fight in the U.S. And he's a real fun fighter to watch. 12 wins, 1 loss, and a draw. He's going to be making his second defense of his British super welterweight title that he won over Ishmael Davis back in February. He's going to be taking on Ethan James. So that's a good fight, too. It's a decent card. It'll be on DAZN October 3rd. So keep an eye out for that one. Coach is saying Wallace hasn't fought anyone. Whitaker, stay busy fight. Yeah, well, it's more than that, Coach, because it's an elimination fight. So that means technically he should be getting his next fight should be for the world title. He should be challenging for the world title. Is he ready for the world title? I think he's a talented fighter, but he's stepping up his level of opposition right now. I kind of do like the Yarde fight. I think that would be a really good test. But maybe what you're alluding to, Coach, is maybe he should be fighting Yarde now instead of Wallace. But anyway, speaking of Coach, I got an email from my man, and he said, not sure if I'm seeing some things the way I would like to see them, but it appears to me more and more people lately around boxing are waking up. Here's a good article on Millennials self-proclaimed the best ever. Obviously, we know that he's referring to Floyd Mayweather. And he sent me a link, which, you know what, I'm going to, if you go to Coach's website, you can, strictlybusinessboxing.com, you can definitely get a link to it. I'm not going to give the other location, so you got to go to Coach's site if you want to check out the article. But it's Marciano's 49-0 record has become boxing's false standard. Now, I read the article, and basically, I'll paraphrase. Basically, what it says is, Marciano was 49-0, and people are making this big thing over Floyd being 50-0. And then they actually point out what we've been saying for a long time. His last two fights weren't very good, considering considering an injury, and then his 50th fight against Conor McGregor, who was making his pro debut. They also mentioned the other two fights that many people thought he lost, that he avenged with rematches. But the interesting thing, and I still think that they're missing the point. So the article was obviously written by a young whippersnapper. And like Coach said, I agree. I'm glad that they're starting to see through this, because they point out some other records, specifically Terrence Crawford, Calzaghe, fighters that, walked away unblemished, but they didn't hit 50 and 0. But here's the thing. The 49-0 record, because there's been several fighters that have passed 50-0 and just kept fighting until they lost. Chavez is one of them, over 80 fights before he lost his first fight. So I mean, Floyd he was very successful at a scamming his fans by, making them go for that 50-0. The other thing here is the heavyweight division. No heavyweight has ever gotten to 50-0 ever. They've never made it. Forget about being 50-1. No heavyweight has ever made it to 50-0. That was the whole point of the 49-0. Larry Holmes almost made it. The article points out, lost to Michael Spinks. So I mean, check it out. Go to strictlybusinessboxing.com. But it was for the heavyweight division. So it's become a false standard. The author was Ken Hissner. So if you want to check it out, and he's been around. But some other points he made was about the two fights, like I mentioned, Jose Castillo and Marcos Medina. The first fights, many people think Floyd got gift decisions in those. But anyway, thanks for the email, Coach. He's saying in here, Real Boxing, I'll put it up on the screen for you. Real Boxing, Willie Pep 62-0 until lost to future Hall of Famer Sammy Agot. Retired 229 wins, 11 losses, one draw with 65 knockouts. Yeah, unbelievable stats when you think of that. But another email I got that I wanted to share with you guys. This one's from Raheem. I'm glad he's back listening to the show and contributing with some emails. It's always interesting to read his, and this one's no different. He says, "Hey, Billy, it's Raheem. I was wondering if you could talk about when Tyson lost to Douglas, that's Mike Tyson and Buster Douglas, at the time, where you were and what your reaction was to his loss. My father had HBO and saw the upset, and he said that Tyson wasn't in shape." You know something, Raheem? This is an interesting question. If anybody knows me and has ever talked to me about Mike Tyson, they will know, or they will tell you that I was a huge Mike Tyson fan. And I know exactly where I was and exactly how I felt on that day. Now, for all you that might have forgot, it was shown on HBO on a Saturday night, February 10th, but the live event was taking place in Japan, and it was actually the official date is Sunday, February 11th in 1990. So the 30 it was over 36 years ago. So, but we all saw it on Saturday, February 10th. But nonetheless, Tyson was stopped in the 10th round and lost the title. A couple of thoughts. First and foremost, the referee never picked up this is fact. We've went through it, okay? The referee was Octavio Mayron, and Mayron never picked up the count. So when he finally got order, he started the count over. And it's been proven that this was a 13 to 14 second count that Douglas got when he was sprawled out on the canvas. He did rise. and that was in the 8th round, and he knocked out Tyson in the 10th. There was no question about that stoppage. Now, where was I? It's funny you should ask, Raheem. I actually was not living in Lake George at the time. And at the time, I had 2 young kids. And my wife and I took the kids, and we came up to Lake George for a weekend. It was going to be a long weekend. And I checked into a hotel. I made sure we had HBO. We got there that night. We were going to spend, 4 days here. And now it's here. But this was 36 years ago. And, the kids were, they were asleep. And, I'm sitting there. The fight comes on, and I'm sitting. I'll never forget it, Raheem. I was sitting on the edge of the bed watching this fight. And my wife, she sometimes cared about Tyson, sometimes didn't. And I remember her saying to me, "It doesn't look good for Mike, does it?" And I remember looking at her with that look, like, it's time for you to go to bed too, right? And when he got knocked out, I got so uptight over it that I literally, and I kid you not, packed up everything right then in the middle of the night after that fight, and we drove home. I left the hotel. I dragged the kids, woke them up, packed up their stuff, and we were out. My best friend, his mother was like a mother to me, and he calls me, and she's like, "Oh, my mom wanted to make sure you were okay." That's how much of a fight a fanatic I was with Mike Tyson. I was crushed after that fight. How crushed was I, Raheem? How about this? How about I've never watched the full replay again until it was just recently. It was about 3 months ago. I happened to stumble across it, and I watched it again. And that was the first time in 36 years that I rewatched that fight. And let me tell you, I was just as crushed after watching it. I couldn't believe he lost again. I couldn't believe. But anyway, thanks for the email. Coach is saying a long count doesn't hold water for Dempsey. Won't for Tyson. No, 2 different situations, though, Coach. And besides, they didn't have the referees counted back in the day. They weren't picking up counts. They started counting. The long count in that was Dempsey's own fault. He was not abiding by the rules, and that's what the problem was there. As far as Mike Tyson goes, I think that was a referee's mistake. But then again, I just told you how much I love Mike Tyson. All right, there's a couple of fights this weekend that I want to go over. Once again, programming note, right now we're scheduled twice a month. Our next show will be September 2nd. And during the shows or through social media, you'll see me promote some specials we'll be doing, whether they're post-fight shows, whether they're little off-the-cuff broadcast about certain things that might be happening in the sport. So check the social media, make sure you follow us and friend us and do all those things, and you'll be up to date on that. And I'll try to announce it on the shows, but we'll see what happens. All right, a couple of fights this weekend that I want to talk about, break down, and give you predictions. We were talking earlier about the middleweight division and how hot it is. Well, there's a middleweight fight on, and one of the guys that I mentioned is on this card, and that's George Ledard. George Ledard is ranked by the computer at number 24. The IBF has him at number 6. The WBC, they have him at number 13, and the WBO has him at number 14. He's not rated in the WBA Ring Magazine ratings or ESPN. The IBO's computer system, which you all know that I love, they got him ranked at number 20. He's 14-0 with 8 of his wins coming by knockout. He's a young kid, 24 years old, 5'10", orthodox fighter. His 3 big wins that you need to know about was his last 3 fights. He stopped Aaron Sutton in May of 25. In October of 2025, He stopped Kieran Conway. And in his last fight, which was in March, this past March, he too fought Tyler Denny and went the distance. Now he steps in the ring with another Italian fighter, Dario Morello. And Dario Morello has an impressive record, 26 wins, 1 loss, 4 of his wins coming by knockout. The computer ranks him at number 84. He's not ranked anywhere else, obviously, and the IBO has him ranked. The IBO's computer has him ranked at number 87. He's 33 years old. He too is 5'10" orthodox fighter. His 3 big wins against fighters that had decent records, but fighters you probably never heard of. In November of 2024, Felice Moncelli, he beat him via a unanimous decision, 10 rounds. In May of 2025, he beat Yasan Hermai in a 10-round unanimous decision as well. And in November of the same year, 2025, he beat via a 12-round decision Fatam Vukashinov. And those fighters all had impressive records, but like I said, not household names. Who's going to win this fight? Well, listen, I'm only broke down this fight because we happen to have been talking about the middleweight division, and I told you how high I was on George Ledard. But this shouldn't be a hard fight for Ledard. They have a perfect opponent for him. Dario Morello will come in with a chip on his shoulder. George is not going to have an easy fight, but he should come out on top. I'm picking George Ledard in this one. Keep an eye on him in the middleweight division. And the last fight I want to talk about is the biggest one of the weekend. That's the Rolando Raleigh Romero going up against Teofimo Lopez. Interesting fight. Raleigh Romero is currently the WBA World Welterweight Champion, so he's not rated anywhere else. Surprisingly enough, he's not rated in either ESPN or Ring Magazine either. His record, 17 wins, 2 losses. Both of his losses, he was stopped. And of his 17 wins, he's got 13 coming by knockout. But when you think about who he was stopped by, maybe not hold it against him. He was stopped in the 6th round by Tank Davis back in May of 2022, and he was stopped in the 8th round by Isaac Cruz in March of 2024. He's 5'8", orthodox fighter. He's got a 68-inch reach. His best fights, well, his 3 best wins, I mean, they're pretty obvious who they are. Back in 2021, in July of 2021, he stopped Anthony Yiggett. He also beat via a stoppage in May of 2023 Ishmael Barrasso and Barrasso, I'm sorry. And his most famous win, May of 2025, Ryan Garcia. He won a 12-round decision. He steps in the ring with Teofimo Lopez. And coach is telling me, he's talking about the Tyson Douglas fight. He says the canvas when he first went down, not finished, watched the count the extra time because Mike came into the center of the ring. Stop hating on Mike Tyson, coach. Come on. My man, Mr. Demo's predicting Ledard with the knockout. It's hard to argue with him there. But back to this fight, Teofimo Lopez challenging Raleigh Romero for his WBA World Welterweight title. Teofimo Lopez record 22 wins, 2 losses, 13 of his wins coming by knockout. He was never stopped. He lost a split decision to George Kambosos in November 2024, and he lost to Shakir Stevenson in his last fight, which took place January of this year. The computer ranks him at number 6 in the world. The WBO has him at number 2. The WBA has him at number 6. He's not rated in the WBC or the IBF, or surprisingly enough, not rated in the Ring or ESPN. That kind of surprised me. The IBO has him at number 4, which kind of gives you a reason why I'm surprised. 5'9", 29 years old, orthodox fighter. His best wins, I mean, I got to mention it. It pains me to do so, but it was a W. Took place back in 2020. He won a 12-round decision over one of the best pure sweet science fighters out there in Vasily Lomachenko. He also beat Josh Taylor. He won a 12-round decision over Josh Taylor in 2023, and he beat Arnold Barbosa in May of 2025. So, I mean, those were his big wins. And, I told you who his losses were to, and he's coming off a loss, a 12-round unanimous decision at the hands of Shakur Stevenson. So when I look at this fight, Romero, he's got some pop. He's got a 77, almost 77% knockout ratio. Teofimo Lopez, who everybody acts is such a knockout puncher, he doesn't even have a 60% KO ratio. Romero's chance in this fight is to catch Lopez. Does he stop him? I don't know, but he could certainly stun him and drop him. My opinion on this fight, let me backtrack. Teofimo Lopez, everybody thought, including myself, that he would give Shakur Stevenson a much better fight. And after Shakur Stevenson dominated the fight the way he did, Shakur Stevenson has been put on the pedestal, right? Because we use Teofimo Lopez as a defining gauge. I mean, maybe people are going to disagree with me, but that seems to what had happened. He signs a big deal. Now all of a sudden he's the best, which, I'm not disagreeing. He is one of the best out there. But I don't think Teofimo Lopez fought the right fight against Shakur Stevenson. I thought Teofimo Lopez should have been more aggressive in this fight. Shakur Stevenson has a tendency, even though he has shown a bit more of a mean streak since he's been hanging with TC, but the truth of the matter is that Teofimo Lopez's chance against Shakur Stevenson was to be aggressive, and although he only has 13 knockouts of his 22 fights, which, like I said before, is below 60% knockout ratio, I think he needs to be aggressive against Rolly Romero. And Rolly Romero is a fighter who's really got something to prove, because it seems, with the exception of Ryan Garcia, it seems that every time he's stepped up his opposition, he's come up short. Who do I think is going to win this fight? I think this is kind of a do or die fight for Lopez. And I think that he's going to come and work at it. And I think he's going to win this fight. I think he's going to shock people. And I think I'm the reason why I'm picking him is I think he's smart enough and his team is smart enough to know that he does need to fight an aggressive fight, that's why he didn't fare well with Shakur. If he comes out and he fights tentatively and cautiously and loses the fight like that to Romero, then I'm telling you right now, Lopez, it's in a sense, we're never going to see the Lopez we thought we were going to see, if that makes any sense. Then they said, he might move up. Move up. He can't even, he can't move up. He's got to control this division before you move. The idea of moving up, boys and girls, is you got to control the division and then move up, not run up, not run away and think that, and yes, some people can make the argument, well, it was killing me I couldn't make weight anymore. Well, Teofimo Lopez has been fighting at welterweight for a long time. He needs to be aggressive and go after Romero, and Romero can be stopped. Teofimo Lopez has to be aggressive. That's the way he can win. So I'm picking Teofimo Lopez in that one out of necessity. Mr. Demo saying Teo didn't carry power up to 140, but he's going to carry it up to 147. I think it's a style of the way he fights, to be honest with you. Do I think he's going to have power? Well, I don't know. I don't think he should be moving up. I agree with that statement. My point is at times he can be aggressive and not fight too cautiously, and I think that he should have fought that kind of a fight against Stevenson, and he definitely better fight that kind of a fight against Rolly Romero this weekend. So anyway, he said, Coach is saying everyone wanted Ali Frazier. Teo should have been Frazier. Exactly. He's talking about the Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson fight. And that's my point here, Coach. I really believe that Teofimo Lopez is going to have to fight aggressive. But I do agree with Mr. Demo. Should he not fight aggressive, like I just said before I agreed with him, I already said that I think that Lopez is going to be, for all intent and purposes, fini as far as being a heavy draw and everything else. I'm not saying his career is over, but he's not going to be looked upon the way he was prior to the Shakur Stevenson fight. That's my point. Hey, listen, don't forget our next show is September 2nd, Wednesday, September 2nd. Same bat time, same bat channel. Make sure you're there. Until then, I'll leave you with this. Ciao, baby.